Hey guys, Bubba here with the BubbaNews, all in one word, all in one news. How are you guys doing tonight? It is now May 19th. Oh wow. We literally only have 2 weeks away from Sunday into Monday, June 1st through the 2nd, and that is huge, I believe, with Bible prophecy. We're going to talk about that. Well, not tonight, but we're going to talk about that soon here in the next couple days and few weeks. Some big, exciting things going on, guys. It is crazy town, and to think, and that's why I'm only calling this one, it's only Monday. We've got some new reports on the two-state solution, even though we talked about that last night. There's some new stuff that's come out today. And, of course, with Israel, with Gideon's chariots, Gaza, everything going on with Iran, I mean, it's another day in paradise, isn't it? I mean, it's only Monday, but it is crazy town. But for those of you earlier who were able to come over to Pastor Gary, and this is the best picture I could get. Sorry about that. But over there, Pastor Gary McKibben there in Ireland. And he and I did a 2 hour and 3 minute and 57-second video. It looks like we were discussing the two-state solution of all things. So that was a lot of fun. And I just, we've got to be praying for our brothers in the Lord. And those of us in the prophecy world, because the attacks are getting crazy, Professor. And I just ask for you guys to pray for Watchman River tonight and the next few days, few weeks, everything going on. But you know what? It is only Monday, but I saw this verse earlier today, and I figured, you know what? Let's start right there with this one because, sorry, I had to move that ball out of the way. But, Romans 12:12. Be joyful in hope, patient or steadfast in affliction or tribulation, thalipsis, faithful or fervent in prayer. And that's what we have to be doing because we have to be in prayer 24/7. You know what I mean? It's like having a conversation with your wife in the car or your kids, and you pull up to Taco Bell to get something to eat, and you pull up and they want to take your order. You speak to them. That's the way we should speak to the world. That's the way we should deal with the world. The whole other time we should be focused on our family. And those around us and the Lord Jesus Christ. But yeah, let's get right to it. Sorry, I started going on a tangent there. But you know what? The two-state solution is coming. And the train towards disaster is leaving the station. This is going to get crazy. Okay, last week we reported on Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and France's plan to convene a peace conference in June. Of course, aimed at establishing a Palestinian state without Israeli involvement. Remember that? We just talked about that. Well, now Paris is organizing a preliminary conference to begin advancing this initiative. So the June UN Two-State Solution Conference is going to have first a preparatory meeting in Paris a week ahead of time, June 11th through the 13th. So that's going to be a Tuesday through Thursday, and Paris is going to introduce a Paris call for peace and two states and serve as a crucial preparation mechanism for the international conference in New York. The goal also fostering recognition of Israel by Arab countries and the Palestinian state. So they're doing this Paris call for peace, June 11th through the 13th, to get other nations, other Arab countries that don't recognize Israel as being a nation, like Iraq, to recognize Israel. And for all the other Arab countries, which they already do recognize a Palestinian state, but for Israel to recognize that. So they're really going to start pulling the strings on Israel. But this historic diplomatic conference in Paris on June 11th through 13th, this is going to serve as an extensive preparation for the international conference scheduled at UN headquarters in New York, June 17th through the 20th. So both of these UN conferences share a single objective, promoting the establishment of a Palestinian state without depending on a diplomatic process with Israel. So they're doing this without Israel, and they're basically going to force it on them. And here's what they say. We expect that direct dialogue between hundreds of Israelis and Palestinians, together with opinion leaders from Europe and Arab countries, will formulate joint positions that will be presented to world leaders in New York as a new foundation for Middle East diplomacy and will showcase practical implementation paths for the two-state solution. The New York conference will receive broad support from European and non-European nations including Arab and Muslim countries, and we believe that the United States of America will play a central role in advancing this initiative. So, we're going to tie this story into Jared Kushner at the end. This is getting crazy because the United States is going to play a central role in advancing the two-state solution? Whoa. Well, you know what? It's going to happen because eventually the United States will turn on Israel, but not yet. But on top of this today, with the Paris announcement, a joint statement from the leaders of the UK, France, and Canada came out with their situation. The UK, France, and Canada are now threatening concrete actions if Israel does not halt the fighting in Gaza and boost humanitarian aid while getting ready for the UN Two-State Solution Conference. Here's what these three countries came out today and said. We oppose any attempt to expand Israeli settlements in the West Bank. Israel must halt these settlements, which are illegal, and undermine the viability of a Palestinian state and the security of both Israelis and Palestinians. We will not hesitate to take further action, including targeted sanctions. If Israel doesn't comply, they're going to put sanctions on Israel. Ending Hamas's control of Gaza and achieving a pathway to a two-state solution is consistent with the goals of the June conference in New York City, co-chaired by Saudi Arabia and France. These negotiations need to succeed, and we must all work together towards the implementation of a two-state solution, which is the only way to bring long-lasting peace and security that both Israelis and Palestinians deserve and ensure long-term stability in the region. Remember last night I said we're going to start hearing this long-lasting peace and security. We're going to start hearing these wordings more and more and more and more. They continue. We will continue to work with the Palestinian Authority, regional partners, Israel, and the United States to finalize consensus on arrangements for Gaza's future, building on the Arab peace plan. We affirm the important role of a high-level two-state solution conference at the UN in June in building international consensus, and we are committed to recognizing a Palestinian state as a contribution to achieving a two-state solution, and we are prepared to work with others to this end. They're going to get it done. That's all this article is saying. They are all coming together to get this going now. But right after the UK, France, and Canada came out, well, Hamas came out and thanked the UK, Canada, and France for doing what they did and stating what they stated. When Hamas thanks you, that's not a good thing. It's only Monday. And all these news stories are coming out. Hamas expressed deep gratitude to Canada, France, and the United Kingdom for pressuring Israel with threats of concrete action unless it supplied aid to Gaza and stopped its military campaign. The West's pressure on Israel? The West keeps putting pressure on Israel while Hamas thanks them. And this is revealing strategic incoherence. Because basically they're going to start forcing aid while ignoring Hamas's role. And this is going to guarantee a prolonged conflict and war. This isn't peacemaking. This is enabling terrorism under the cover of humanitarian aid. I mean, when the leaders of Britain, France, and Canada issue joint statements about all this, it sounds like Europe is inching towards sanctions or threatening to tear up the free trade agreements with Israel. This is just unreal. Failure to comply will lead to concrete actions. I mean, if Europe goes down this road, Israel has plenty of leverage. I mean, Israel could cut off the intelligence sharing. This would be a disaster for Europe, especially with the number of terrorists and the jihadist cells that are operating across all of Europe that Israel helps them with 24/7. Israel could also sever they could sever their technology and their cyber security cooperation with Europe. And that would also hit Europe hard. Because so many of the European industries are deeply tied to the Israeli technology and innovation. And that's just the beginning. Israel has far more tools at its disposal than Brussels wants to admit. You can literally, though, feel Zechariah 12:3 forming all around Israel and all against Israel. You've got Macron on the left. You've got Starmer there on the top. You've got the new Canadian dude. Oh, I forget his name, but yeah. Yeah, you guys already know. But, stories like this, with everything going on, stuff like this came out. The Jerusalem Post, a report said, "We will abandon you if you continue," Trump tells Israel. You know what? Did Trump turn on Israel? No. Not yet. For the second time in a week, messages in the name of the White House spokesman, Caroline Leavitt, they were circulated in WhatsApp groups in Israel and on Twitter accounts associated with Netanyahu supporters today. So in response, Caroline Leavitt denied, and she issued the message and said that it was a complete fabrication and fake. She also said that Trump never threatened to abandon Israel. Caroline Leavitt responded saying, "As we know, this is a media outlet hostile to the new Trump administration." That's the Washington Post she was talking about. The media, the Washington Post, has set itself the goal of sabotaging this administration's foreign relations with its allies. It started with the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and it is now trying to sabotage our wonderful relations with our important ally in the Middle East, Israel. The president was very furious to hear this false news, and it makes it clear that Trump has no limit on the time Israel needs to fight the terrorist organization Hamas. We will support and always stand by our allies, especially Israel. So, Israel still has help, and they still have backing from Trump. But a lot of people said that he turned on them last week when he didn't go to Israel for their 77th birthday. But you know what? He was doing this Arab plan, this whole Arab trip. And he was schmoozing them and trying to get them to do what he wants them to do. Same thing with them. They basically promised $5 trillion to the United States with investments and everything going on. But they didn't donate this money or agree to all these things just as business people. They expect Trump to do some things for them as well. And you know what Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia expect Trump to do? To start putting pressure on Netanyahu to go along with this two-state solution. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this one because that's what's coming. But on top of all this is getting nuts with Iran. Because are the Iran and U.S. nuclear talks getting ready to stop? Iran has not accepted Oman's invitation for a fifth round of talks with the United States. That's due to take place this Friday in Rome. As U.S. officials insist on zero enrichment for Iran, this has left officials in Iran uncertain about the usefulness of any more talks. Iran does not want to have another round of talks and them to fail, the official was quoted as saying. Because the United States wants Iran not to have any enrichment capability at all. Because enrichment would lead to a nuclear weapon. And Iran says, we'll meet you, United States, with your nuclear deal, but our bottom line is, red line is, we are going to enrich, and you're not going to tell us that you're not. So deal or no deal, we are still going to enrich. So, and Iran came out and said with zero enrichment, we do not have a deal. So nuclear talks between Iran and the United States will lead nowhere if Washington insists that Iran drop its uranium enrichment activity to zero. This is what the deputy foreign minister said today of Iran. So they're saying that these talks are going to lead to nowhere. So why do they even need these talks? And they have a point. But you know what else is coming up? And wasn't that 6 months or wasn't that 60 days, the 2 months with Trump supposed to end on May 1st? And then I thought it might have gone to May 15th. A lot of people have wondered how long that 60-day period was and when it began. We'll see if Trump sticks to it, because if this deal is going nowhere, then we could very well see an attack on Elam in Iran in the next 2 weeks, right before Shavuot Pentecost. That is very, very possible. The way things are going. the way this world is getting ready to get nuts. Talking about nuts, I'm going to finish it off with this last story of the night, but you can't make this stuff up. I said, say what? I know Mr. Kushner on the right gives a lot of people the creeps. But the U.S. Senate confirms Trump's nominee, Kushner, dad, on the left, to be the ambassador to France. Jared Kushner's father. The Senate today voted 52 to 46 to advance Donald Trump's nomination of Charles Kushner on the left, Jared Kushner's father, to serve as U.S. ambassador to France and Monaco. But Charles Kushner, that guy's a mess. He was convicted of tax evasion, witness tampering, and making illegal campaign contributions. But Trump pardoned Charles Kushner on the left in the final weeks of Trump's first term, along with Roger Stone. But check this out. Mr. Jared Kushner on the right has direct ties to Mohammed bin Salman because they are texting buddies. Charles Kushner on the left now is going to have direct ties to Emmanuel Macron of France. So you've got two people that Trump is using, through France and Saudi Arabia with this whole two-state solution. Do you see how this is a crazy puzzle and this is all coming together? You can't make this stuff up. But you know what, guys? It's only Monday. This is some of the crazy news that I've seen today. And I haven't, again, covered half of it. But this is just some of it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm not going to keep you guys long tonight. I'll try to keep this one short. But, oh, man, this is crazy town. Because all this stuff is going to continue to ramp up to the two-state solution. All this stuff is going to continue ramping up with the war going on in Gaza, with Gideon's chariots. All this stuff is going to continue to ramp up with the lack of humanitarian aid that Israel is sending in. And what Israel is getting ready to send in is going to be on the very bare minimum side, just to keep the civilian population alive, basically. Meanwhile, today, all the people of Hamas, they're turning away this food that's coming in because it's written in Hebrew. There's some English on it as well. It's called wheat, but they're turning that away and they won't touch it. So it's getting really weird. But my point is, the entire world, as we get closer and closer to these wars that are getting ready to kick off, is Zechariah 12:3, where every nation of the earth is going to gather in unison, basically, against Israel with what's coming. We're seeing this happening with this two-state solution. And I hate to say that, but literally, come hell or high water, that's what they want, and that's what they're going to get done. I mean, this just screams out Joel 3:2. That other verse Pastor Gary brought up today where it talks about, in Isaiah, talking about dividing Israel as well. I mean, there's some crazy things going on, guys. It's only Monday. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, I'm going to look up this verse real quick in Isaiah 28:19. But tomorrow we are heading to the therapy there tomorrow morning for Mrs. Bubba's shoulder. And then we're going to find out when it gets going there, what's torn or what's not with an MRI on Monday or Wednesday. Sorry, guys, I got excited. Okay, I'm not going to look at that verse, but thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you for your prayers. And Maranatha, we will talk to you soon. Jesus Christ is coming so very soon. Maranatha, we're out of here soon, guys.